This would be my Liverpool team to start against Crystal Palace in the 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Let's get into it straight away. Alisson is back in training today, so that certainly is an option to us, having Alisson in goal. We know Mamardashvili has picked up an injury playing in the Merseyside derby. We'll discuss him as well. Freddie Woodman obviously played well when he came on in the Merseyside derby. That header, that composed header coming out, I thought that was really good. For me, I wouldn't rush Alisson back into this team. I'd leave Woodman in goal. We need to discuss Alisson though, because I've seen the stuff around him going to Juventus, 15 million, and I just find that incredibly disappointing. Yes, stripping the emotion out, he's had injury problems, and he has for a while, to be honest. This isn't a new thing, but it seems to certainly be gaining a bit of traction in terms of the frequency of how often it's happening. He's still, for me, one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. I'm not sure he's had the exposure this year to put him right in amongst the top two or whatever. But when he plays, he still bails Liverpool out a lot. He still makes amazing saves. I don't think he's as good as he was 2-3 years ago, personally. That could just be to do with lack of exposure, etc. But I think it's his body taking a bit of a toll on him. If I'm to be a betting man and predict the future, do I still think he'll be at that level in 2 years' time? No, I think the injuries are only going to get worse, if I'm honest. However, he's still one of the best goalkeepers in the league, and replacing him is not going to be easy. And I think signing from a position of strength, it's one thing that I always thought Ferguson did really well at Man United, signing the next player before the predecessors left the club, so that you've got, you bring in the understudy in to take on from the striker, if you will, or take on from the goalkeeper. And Liverpool have kind of done that with Mamardashvili, who's a good goalkeeper, he's a good shot stopper, I can see that. Old-fashioned goalkeeper, keeping the ball out of the net. He is good. Not as good as Alisson, but that's, you're talking with Alisson. For me, he's been the best goalkeeper in the world for a number of years. Now, whether he's number one, or whether it's Courtois, or whether it's All Black, that's a debate. That's subjective, but he's in that bracket for sure, and that isn't really, he just is. When I think about the, last 7-8 years, Alisson has consistently been sort of top 3 in the world. Best goalkeeper in the Premier League for a long time. So hoping Mamardashvili will get there is tough. The thing that stands out for me, though, is not just the shot stopping and crosses and stuff like that. It's the distribution side of it with Mamardashvili. Because obviously, yes, you can teach things to a certain degree, but I don't think you take his distribution from where it is now to being anything like competent enough to be Liverpool's number one goalkeeper. So, for me, I just think letting Alisson go for 15 million to Juventus is just nonsense. I know he's had his injury problems. I know it's difficult to plan for a goalkeeper that's out a lot as well, but even if he gives you half of the games, you've just got such a good goalkeeper. That is personally what I would do. I'd keep him around whilst you try and sign someone else, if that's what you're going to do. Moving on to the actual team sheet, though, because I had to talk about that big talking point, of course. Formation's a big talking point, but we'll plug in. We're going to play a back four, okay? There's none of that back three nonsense. I'm okay with that next season if you want to move to it, but you've got to do it in a structured manner. Now, Jeremy Frimpong at right back, I think this makes sense. In a game, Liverpool need to be taking the onus to Crystal Palace at home. Liverpool in a good position as well in terms of that qualification for Champions League. 5 points ahead of Brighton with a game in hand. So, really, it should happen from here on in with 5 games to go. Jeremy Frimpong is going to be my right back because it's between him, Gomez, or playing Curtis Jones or Szoboszlai there. And I would play a right back at right back. I thought Jones did well in the Merseyside derby. I know that split people, but I really do think so. Kirkez would start at left back for me, and the reason for that is that, again, Robertson's done nothing wrong. I wouldn't mind seeing him in, but I am taking it for granted now that you can't. If you're the manager, you can't do this. But me as a fan, Liverpool should qualify for the Champions League. I was about to say will, but should qualify for the Champions League. 5 points in the game in hand with 5 games to go. Just mathematically, it's very likely they will. Okay? So therefore, there is no... These next 5 games, yes, be professional. Make sure you finish in that top 5, of course. That goes without saying. That's why I'm picking, the best team. But if there's any 50-50 calls, which Robertson, Kirkez, that's coin toss for me. In the Everton game, I could have gone either way on that. I'd probably lean on what can I learn going into next season. So Milos Kirkez, I can learn things from playing him. Whereas Robertson, same can be said for Salah further into the video. Playing Salah is it's a short-termism now that you know he's leaving. You're getting a result now, which you want to do. Of course, there's a balance to be struck. You want to win the game. But if you had two of equal ability, I would always opt for the one that's going to be here next season in terms of exposing them to their teammates, another game, bit of momentum, building up the chemistry and partnerships, etc. And that's why Kirkez is playing as my left back. Okay, so centre backs again is going to be Van Dijk and Kanate. I think that explains itself. So now we're on to the formation. This is a talking point because I feel like Liverpool could have gone with that 4-2-2-2 for the rest of the season. I thought that made sense. But the reason that made sense is because what we wanted to see for the last couple of months of the season is that Isak and Ekitike partnership and seeing if that could really develop and gain a bit of traction. Unfortunately, we've been robbed of that because the moment they've started playing together, of course, Ekitike has now picked up that injury. You could still play a narrow formation with Salah playing as the right striker. I think that works. I think he could do it pretty well. We've not seen much of it. But again, going back to those short-termisms, what if it really works? I suppose if it really works, you could sign him down again next year. But my point was going to be that, suddenly, in the last 5 games, if Isak and Salah strike up a brilliant front two strike partnership, Salah's leaving. Do you want to learn that? I don't know. You probably don't want to discover that and then see him leave. I mean, in that hypothetical scenario, you just probably have to ask him to sign on for another year. But that's not going to happen, of course. It's all theoreticals. So I think we're probably looking at more of a 4-2-3-1. But we'll decide as we get into it. What I will say for sure, let's just park the formation for now. Let's just talk about the players we want to see in this team. So for me, I want to see Rio Engamoa in the team. I've said that for a couple of games now, and he's been taken back out the firing line. Crystal Palace at home. I have confidence the manager will play him in this game. Now, I know I said I wanted to see him against PSG. I wanted to see him against Everton. I didn't think the manager would do it, and he didn't. I think he will against Crystal Palace, and that's the right call for me. I want to see something develop in between these two. When Andy Robertson's played there, we've seen a lot of this. He gets the ball and he can support on the overlap and allows him to come inside on the right foot. Because he's offering, I'm just going to use Alisson as a defender, because Robertson, if Engamoa is one-on-one with a fullback, is offering that overlap, he's having to worry about that pass. He's having to worry about what if he slides him in there and he's in the box. So he's having to kind of half worry about that, which means that someone else is having to come over and do Engamoa. It's becoming a 2v2 rather than a 2v1. Yeah, it's been a good relationship those two struck up, and we'd like to see the same at Kirkes because, to be honest, I think this boy here, he's here to stay. So in terms of next season, Liverpool should go out and sign a winger for sure, probably on the right side though, because I think Engamoa can do something on that left-hand side. I wouldn't want to stunt his growth. Obviously, the ideal situation is you sign wingers that can play both sides. Engamoa plays for me, so we'll think about that. That does mean in some way, shape or form we're playing with wingers. So we're not going to be doing that narrow 4-2-2-2 because I want Engamoa in the side. I would like to see Curtis Jones in the side. I thought Jones did well against Everton, playing at right back. I think he's merited it all season. But again, if Arne Slot's the manager and he knows Jones is going to leave, because the talk is he doesn't want to be there if Arne Slot's there, and if that's true, and I can see that being true, he's not played as much as he should have done this season, then, maybe the manager won't play him. But for me, I'd like to see Curtis Jones in the team. I thought his performance merits another start. If Frimpong is deemed not fit enough to play, I would put Curtis Jones in at right back. I know Joe Gomez is back in training again, but his performance, you can kind of cheat there and steal a place, and then you don't have to leave out a midfielder. Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Wirtz, McAllister, you can kind of get them all in and steal Jones at right back there, but I don't want to see that. I want to see the manager be brave here, and this is my team at the end of the day, so this is what I would do. Frimpong at right back, and that is for an attacking decision. I want to get him in there attacking. Curtis Jones, I'd like to see him in the team. Szoboszlai's going to be in the team. Gravenberch, Wirtz, I'm comfortable leaving McAllister out. I'm comfortable with that. Do you know what? Given that I do think Liverpool qualify for Champions League, I mean, I'm not against, and this is probably the first time this season I've said that outside of League Cup that I've said this on any of my social media channels. I wouldn't be against seeing Trey Ione. I hear so much buzz around this kid. When I've seen him, he looks decent. But obviously, you read what you read. You hear players. You same as me. You see all the same stuff. They reckon he's meant to be mustard. So I wouldn't mind seeing him give it a go. But let's not do it for right now, because let's qualify, let's be professional, let's make sure that we get that Champions League place. Once Liverpool are mathematically in the Champions League, for me, you play him, because it comes back to my point about what can we learn going into next season. There's a lot to learn with Train Ione. I would play Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz would be in my team. Szoboszlai is going to be in my team. I'm just going to put... So basically, it's a straight-up call between Jones and Gravenberch if we're going with a 4-2-3-1. I'm going to leave Gravenberch out. So I'm going to go with Curtis Jones there. I'm going to go with Szoboszlai there. I'm going to go with Florian Wirtz in the number 10. Mo Salah plays on the right wing for me again. I don't think there's a lot of option on that right wing. And sometimes you could be tempted to bring him inside the pitch. But then you want to play Ngamo on the left, and it's about getting that balance. Luckily, Frimpong can kind of be really aggressive, get forward, and provide that balance on the right-hand side. And that is what I want to see in this team. And in terms of the striker, I think we've got a couple of options in terms of Gakpo or Ekitike. Gakpo merits it more, if I'm being honest. Gakpo merits it more right now. Thought he had a good Merseyside derby, actually. I know a lot of you don't like him. I thought last season, though, when Liverpool won the title, I thought he was really important, you know. This season, no, he hasn't been as good, I'll be honest. But neither is Isak. And in terms of, if we're being really objective here, who's had a better season out of those two? It's not a fair test, because Isak's played a lot less football. But the football that he has played, he has been underwhelming, mind. And I know that I said I would have picked Isak in the last game. And I was honest, I said that was just on reputation. Newcastle, I saw him at Newcastle, he's a good player. And I was just kind of hoping that he's just come back from this injury. Can we just play him into a bit of form? You know, if you persist with him for long enough, the player hasn't disappeared. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, it's happened to people in the past. Torres, when he went to Chelsea, was never the same. But I think it's unlikely. He's only like 26. I still think he'll be the same player. You just got to find it. It's about maybe the system's not right for him. There's lots of things it could be, mentally. But the hot streak at Newcastle wasn't 6 months. It wasn't like Papi Cisse, where it was just a short burst of being really good, or Mishu at Swansea. It was a 2-3 year spell, and he was good before that as well. And he's good when he plays for Sweden. So I know he's a good player. I trust that. Gakpo merits it more. I'd find it tough if I was the manager to look him in the eye and say, I'm dropping you for this one, after he played well last week. And really, he played well out here, so he should be starting as a left winger. I think I could put my arm around his shoulder and say, don't worry though, you're still playing. You're just playing there. But there's that other part of me that thinks playing Isak into fitness and have the tough conversation. So for me, look, Gakpo's played a lot more than he should have done this year. There's been many occasions where I think he should have been dropped. This is probably the one where, out of those two, he deserves to start, if I'm honest. That said, he's had a lot go his way where he didn't deserve to start. So me dropping him on the occasion that he does, I shouldn't feel too guilty about it. I could kind of swing either way on those two, you know, who I would start. Because this is, you know, we got 5 games here, Alex. It's a bit of a free hit for you, lad. Go on, you just go and score 2 or 3 in the last 5 games. Go and get a bit of confidence. See what you can do. Against Everton, there was one pass that Florian Wirtz wrapped into Isak, and he took a first touch and got the shot off. Hit it straight to the keeper, but it was sharp. And I thought, ooh, that's what we can see. The first touch and strike, and it was a good strike. I like to pick things on merit, generally. So I think for that reason, I'll just edge it with Gakpo on this occasion, albeit that's not where he actually played on the weekend. But I could very easily change my mind on this in the next 10 minutes. But I think outside of that, that would be my team. As I mentioned, if Frimpong is deemed to be not fit, I wouldn't bring Joe Gomez in. Even though he trained today, I'd be bringing Curtis Jones to right back and then Gravenberch into that midfield slot there. With him, again, he's played a lot of football. Call it a rest, if you will. Rest for what, Gaffer? Well, that's a debate for another time, because I guess we're not really resting players for anything at the moment. I just think Curtis Jones deserves to play. There it is. There's my team. Let me know what you think in the comments. And make sure you hit the subscribe button if you don't already follow the channel. And let me know what else you want to see. I'm not strictly going to just do Liverpool content. That is what I've started doing, of course. But there's other things we can talk about as well. Maybe like thinking about maybe an all-time Prem 11. Give my thoughts on one of those. There's other things we can do. Cheers. Peace out.